The title of today's message is Overcoming the Losing Culture. Great leaders break off losing cultures off of themselves, off of organizations, off of cities, and beyond. A losing culture is a defeatist mindset where we believe we're not going to win. We believe that the opponents that we face in life, in organizations, are too great. I remember playing football. The high school I played at had a losing culture. We had difficulty beating certain teams, and there was a mindset that we were not as good as these other schools. We got a new coach when I was a freshman, and this coach had fire. This coach had just a belief in us, and he changed the culture. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight for you. It's not going to happen overnight for the organizations that you're in, the mindsets of the corporate strongholds, so to speak. But great leaders rise above the culture that they're in. Great leaders, and you're a great leader. You're a great influencer in your home, with your friends, in your business, in organizations, churches, ministries, etc. Great leaders are thermostatic. Great leaders are not thermometers. We're not called to be thermometers, just reflecting in our speech, in our thinking, the culture and the feeling of the environment that we're in. Great leaders are thermostatic. They think higher, they talk higher, and they act higher than the environments that they're in. Great leaders, thermostatic people, think, act, and talk higher than the environments they're in. And this coach, he changed the culture. I mean, he was a preacher. I mean, we'd be in the locker room before the game, and he'd start talking, and he would talk to us about our strategy. He talked to us about our plan, talked to us about the opponent, what we needed to be aware of with them. But then at the end, he realized that we needed fire. So, I mean, he'd be talking, and he would inspire me so much. I said, "Coach, open the door." If you don't open the door, I'm going to rip a locker off the wall. I got to get out there. I got to get out there and hit somebody. And by the time we were a senior, we won the championship for our division. And I think back on that, think back on just how that impacted me, and losing cultures. Losing cultures. And the first losing culture we are to defeat or to overcome is in ourselves. And, because the devil's a liar. He's constantly telling us, you're a loser. There's something uniquely wrong with you. It's not going to work for you. It may work for others. You're less than. You can't do great things. He is a liar. I think about my grandson, Caden, when he was 3 or about that age. We were in a park here in Redding, California, where we live. And it was getting to a point we needed to go. And Caden's family and my wife, Wendy, were up by the cars, and Caden's kind of still on the trail. I'm between him and everybody else, and I knew I needed to motivate Caden. So I pull out these high-level motivational words. I say, "Caden, let's race." No movement. He didn't move at all. Then I said these words, which were, oh man, they were higher in the motivation. "I am winning." And without moving at all, Caden said, "I'm winning too." I thought, wow, this guy, he's in last place and he thinks he's a winner. When I grow up, I want to be like him. It says in Proverbs 23, it says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." He thought he was a winner. Now, the reason Caden was a winner, it was because he wasn't in the same race as Grandpa was in. He was in the race of what 3-year-olds do. Bird, leaf, look at that, dog. And he was excited about those things, and he was winning. Many of us think we're losers because we don't know what race we're in. We think we're in the race of trying to be the most beautiful and handsome or most successful, the best educated, have the best family, have the best marriage. We're in the race to have all of those things. And culture and society just wants to send us a message through media, through advertisements, through a lot of things, and say, you're losing. You're a loser. And so we break off the losing culture off of ourselves, the defeatist mindset, the self-defeating thinking, the self-limiting beliefs. In my Backlund Leadership Academy, which we're starting again in September, where I take the 8 pillars of leadership, and it's an online leadership academy, and we have 40 students involved this year. It's really powerful, and we're so excited with the results, and we're going to do it again 6 to 8 hours a week. And we go through these 8 pillars, and the first pillar, because what I teach in leadership, and by the way, we're all leaders. I say, great leaders have great beliefs, great priorities, and great habits. Needs to be in that order. And the most important person we lead is ourselves. And so the first pillar is inspiring and leading yourself. And it's really keyed in so much to this idea of breaking off the losing culture. Now, we all lose at things. We all have areas in our life right now that's screaming at us, you are losing. And it may be true. We may be losing in our finances. We may be losing in career. We may be losing in family relationships. We may be losing in feeling like we're old and we haven't accomplished what we want to accomplish, so we're losing because life seemingly is passing us by. Now, we may have these losses, but we're not losers. I'm winning too. I love just saying that. Why don't you say that out loud? I'm winning too. So we inspire ourselves. And so this pillar that of leading, inspiring and leading ourselves, I wake up pretty much every morning. I say regularly, this is going to be a great day. This is going to be a day of victory. This is a day of breakthrough. This is a day of freedom. And I'll frequently say, this is going to be the best day of my life. Some would say, don't say that, Steve. Shouldn't you wait until the end of the day and just see how your day went and use your words to describe your life, describe your day? No. Again, that's not how sports teams think. Sports teams in American football and basketball, I'm sure with rugby and other sports that maybe aren't as popular here. I mean, in the locker room, they're not talking defeat. They understand that they need a plan. Yes, they need to understand their role. Yes, they need to know their enemy. But they also need fire. They need inspiration. They need to break off mindsets that say they can't do it, that they can't do it. And so in the locker room, they're not silent. They're speaking victory. They're speaking success. And even if they don't lose, even if they do lose, they don't say, well, that didn't work. Let's be more pessimistic before the next game. No, they understand it's a process. They may lose. They may go on losing streaks, but they recognize, all right, how we think. Because once we get a defeatist mindset, once we give into a losing culture, that thing is going to, no matter how hard we try, that thing is going to work against us, because when we get into difficulty and trying situations, then we're going to say, here we go again. Here we go again. Now, you're not a loser. You're a winner. Let me just share last part of this message, 7 keys to overcoming the defeatist mindset, to break off the losing culture. Number 1 is stop confusing feelings with truth. You can honestly feel something and express it, but that doesn't make it true. You could be going through a difficult time. You could be feeling like a loser because of certain things. And certainly we all. I mean, I look at my day, I look at this week, yep, I lost in that area. Yeah, But feelings are not the same thing as truth. Feelings don't validate truth. They just validate what you believe is true. If we want a different feeling, we need a different mindset. Number 2 is replace I have to with I get to. In overcoming the losing culture mindset, replace I have to with I get to. I get to. Woo-hoo. I get to do this podcast. I get to travel to Mexico this weekend. I get to go to that meeting. I get to mow the lawn. Number 3 is replace I can't with I won't. Instead of saying I can't speak in front of others, just say I won't. Now, it's self-realization. Maybe it's painful to say, I've just decided not to do that. And because that empowers us at a higher level. By the way, both those who think they can't and those who think they can are both right. Number 4, embrace the power of making faith declarations. I've got a declaration clicker. My goal is to make 100 faith declarations a day, 700 in a week. If I don't make 700 faith declarations in a week, I pay my assistant $3. Because you can't inspire yourself. You can't break off the losing culture by being silent. And it's speaking life. Life is in the power of the tongue, the Bible says. And you can't think a lie when you speak the truth. Number 5, no losses. Know that losses don't define you. Know that losses don't define you. We all have areas where it seems like we're losing. It may be losing. Scores really against us. But it doesn't define me. I'm winning too. I may be losing in a family situation. I may be losing in my finances, but that doesn't define who I am. I am who God says I am, not what my circumstances say I am. And then number 7, create systems in your life to stay encouraged. Create systems in your life to stay encouraged. What does that mean? Well, I have my declaration clicker by my coffee maker. That's a system. It reminds me, the question today is not how do I feel? The question is, what am I going to believe? I have systems of church attendance, of bumping into meetings. I have systems of listening to audio books and messages. I have systems of connecting with my wife on a regular basis. You could call them habits, but I bump into them. And it helps break off the losing culture. Hey, you're a great leader. You're a great influencer. Great leaders, great influencers break off losing cultures off of themselves, off of their families, off of their organizations, off of their cities, off of their churches. They understand that if we try to do great things but have bad beliefs and expect good things aren't going to happen, that is going to limit our endurance and our resilience and our ability to overcome challenges. And lastly, I want to say this. You are thermostatic. You're not a thermometer. You think, act, and talk higher than the environments you're in. Whether it's your home, whether it's your workplace, whether it's your neighborhood, your nation, you're in training. I remember years ago, the Lord said, Steve, I want you to act more enthusiastic than you feel. Because you're building a muscle of enthusiasm, of being a thermostat, of being an inspiration. If we can't inspire ourselves, it's going to be difficult to inspire others. And you are in a season of inspiring yourself and breaking off losing cultures, and you're going to do it. And the people around you are going to be so glad because they're going to win in areas that they never thought they could win in. Wow. Hey, if you like this podcast, why don't you tell somebody else about it? Steve Backlund here from Igniting Hope Ministries. Hey, let me just tell you a few things. March 5th, 2025, we're starting our 40-day annual negativity fast, positivity feast. It's free. You can go to ignitinghopeacademy.com and sign up. You're going to receive an email daily that with a lie to fast and a truth to feast on. So fun to do it with some other people. It's going to lead into our transformational mind renewal course at the end of April, where we take the 5 steps of radical mind renewal, take a month on each of those. It's more of an intensive course. It's going to be so good. Beginning of May, we're having the first weekend, first Friday and Saturday in May 2025, we're doing our annual Abounding Hope and Joy conference here in Redding, California. That's going to be a great event. You can go to ignitinghopeacademy.com, find out about those and other things, and also ignitinghope.com. You can see our itinerary. I'm going to be in Canton, Ohio, coming up. Looking forward to that. Going to be in San Francisco, Carmel, Indiana, Pennsylvania in the coming months. Love to connect with you. So excited when people come up to me and say, hey, I'm in the meeting, and Steve, I love your podcast. If you don't love it, listen to your podcast. And that blesses me so much. Yeah, you can go to ignitinghope.com, and we've got a lot of free resources there as well. Breaking off the losing culture. Hey, Steve Backlund here from Igniting Hope. We are here to ignite your hope. There's no hopeless circumstances. There's just people who do not have hope. And once people get true hope, circumstances cannot stay the same. Hope is the belief that the future will be better than the present, and we have the power to help make it so. and I believe this, that after love, hope is the most powerful leadership quality that there is. Our hope level determines our influence level, and he who has the most hope has the most influence. Remember, too, the joy of the Lord is our strength, and a merry heart is good like medicine. We don't need strength at the end of the battle. We need strength in the middle of the battle. For pretty much everybody listening today, today's just not a good day to walk in radical joy. This season's not a good season to walk in radical. I've never found a convenient season to walk in great joy. And I just see over you right now that there's a grace being released to walk in the joy of the Lord like never before. We can increase joy through thanksgiving. Psalm 100 says we enter his gates with thanksgiving. And a gate represents an entry point into something different, into something higher, into something better. And thanksgiving is an entry point, causes us to enter into a whole lot of things: healthy relationships, abundance, soul prosperity, and more. But it's also joy. Thanksgiving is an entry point into the dimension of greater joy. And as we focus more on how far we've come than how far we need to go, our joy increases. As we focus more on what we have than what we don't have, our joy increases. And then we increase joy by delighting in the Lord. Psalm 37 verse 4 says, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. The delighter in that verse is delighting with unfulfilled desires. Outcomes that he or she wants to see happen that haven't happened yet. They haven't happened yet. The delighter is living while he or she is waiting. Faith people who have hope are delighters. Faith people who don't value hope are waiting to live. Are waiting to live. And I believe this, you're not waiting to live. And it's amazing, because hope people don't put all their eggs in one basket. They're not waiting for something to happen. They are happening to the somethings in their life. That's a whole other message. And it's really interesting as we delight in the Lord, as we just, Lord, I'm so excited. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you're going to do it. As we delight in him, then it increases the likelihood of the desire being fulfilled, because the delighting is evidence that we're at a place in our life to properly steward the desires that we really want. Wow. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this podcast. Thank you, those of you who are vision partners with Igniting Hope, and those of you who are just praying for us, giving financially. What a blessing that is. And we speak blessing. If you're not in a season of sowing financially, that's fine. We just love having you as a part of what we are doing. And we bless you. Looking forward to being with you again on another podcast from Igniting Hope.